The church is called to be an extended family community
with our love for Jesus, uniting us across all other divides.
I am Haitian American.
I am a coach.
I am a creative.
I am a girl dad.
I am a builder of community.
I am a voice of NC4.
We hope that listening to the individual stories and voices of our own family members can build bridges of empathy,
leading to a shared identity and gospel reconciliation.
In this noisy world, thank you for listening.
I grew up in a two-family environment. My parents divorced when I was 2. So ever since I've had step-parents. I call them stepmom, stepdad, but I don't know, I feel like that term doesn't express as much of like how much they mean to me. We grew up pretty much middle class, mostly white neighborhoods. Even the schools I attended were mostly white, so not too much diversity. I was in the Army from 1998 until pretty much ended up my military service in 2004 and 2005 in Iraq. I am married to my very best friend, Amy Templeton, and we have 3 amazing and beautiful daughters, Grace, Juliana, and Madison. I do love it. I do. I love being a girl dad. There are some times when I don't love being a girl dad, but for the most part, I do love being a girl dad. I love to sing. I sing all the time. I sing in the car, I sing while I'm cooking, and I love to cook. And the best time is when I'm cooking and singing. Sometimes to the point where my girls are like, okay, Dad, you've been singing a lot. Currently, I work in law enforcement. I am a police officer since 2006. So I have a little over 2.5 years till I retire. And it's moving on to the next stage of life. So I'm actually excited for the next stage. I am currently working on my master's program, and that's in counseling for crisis management and trauma healing. So I'm hoping to transition from law enforcement into counseling and hopefully some type of instructing law enforcement and instructing veterans groups on how to better deal with the traumas that they see on a daily basis. So I think some of the negative stereotypes that I hear, from being in law enforcement and being a police officer is that I do it because I want to be a bully, because I enjoy the thrill of having power, and we don't necessarily do it out of a willingness and a wanting to serve. And let's be completely honest. Yes, I 100% believe that there are some cops out there that do that, right? But I can't imagine from my experiences it's not an overwhelming majority of law enforcement officers out there. It just isn't. The majority of law enforcement officers out there, we are servants. Like, it's who we're called to be. I've been called to be a servant, honestly, since I'm a kid. When you ask people about me, they say, Chris is a servant and he is a protector. It just is, it's who I am. I've always had this something innate in me that can't stand when I feel like people are either being bullied or being taken advantage of or being harmed in any way. It just wells up this anger inside of me. That is why I'm a police officer. Not because I want to go around and make everybody's life miserable. I get it. Like, I understand that for the majority of the time, when people are interacting with me, it's at probably one of the lowest points of their day, if not their life. The negative aspects that come out of that, right? And the negative feelings that come out of their experiences with me may be there. But that's not why I do this job. I do this job because I do truly want to serve people, and I do truly want to protect people. I start to ask, like, are we getting to a point where, so all growing up, right? My girls have loved their dad being a police officer, and they've been proud of their dad being a police officer and being in law enforcement. I do start to worry if we're getting to a point where I just hope, not that my girls won't be proud of me, but if we continue on just only speaking of the negative aspects of law enforcement, I worry for them if they continue to express that pride, how it's going to negatively affect them. No part of me wants my girls to be negatively affected by the career that I've chosen. My profession is in law enforcement. Me being a police officer doesn't define who I am. It's just a career that I've chosen. I am a child of God. I am a girl dad. I am married to my best friend. I am a servant. I am not a police officer. That's just what I do. Through my law enforcement career, we've gone through like these ups and downs. There's been times when people love law enforcement, and there's been times like we're going through now where it's rough. Like I'll be on a traffic stop, people will be driving by and they'll yell stuff at me. I take in the stuff that makes me better, that helps me to grow in who God has created me to be. And the other stuff, I gotta let go. Because if I dwell on that, it's literally going to affect who I am. The current conversation that we are having about race is extremely important. The conversation that we should be having as a whole, as in all marginalized groups, whether it's race, ethnicity, culture, gender, sexual orientation, if I'm being honest. Because if we don't have those conversations amongst all those groups, then we can't grow. And you can't gain, honestly, the fascinating experiences that each one of those groups brings. These conversations that we're having now need to actually lead to change, right? Because if you're just having these conversations and it doesn't lead to change, then honestly, these conversations are for naught. Humanity has been divided since the beginning. And the only person who's ever been able to break through that divide is Jesus. If we truly want to affect change, we need to start with ourselves. You need to be asking the Holy Spirit, what can I do? Lord, what do you want me to do to be a servant of Christ? I think we as Christians and we as the church need to remember, yes, these conversations need to be had. Yes, they are important. And the only way to truly affect and change people's hearts and change people's minds is to point them to Christ, because he's the only one that can do that. I am Chris Templeton, and I am a voice of NC4.